farmers market in the house.
Okay, welcome to the Monday, November 24th regular council meeting. I would like to start by recognizing that we are gathering and governing on the unceded traditional territory of what is now known as the Comox Nation, and we are grateful for their grace and collaboration as we do this good work on their lands. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? No one's opposed to that. That's carried. And there are minutes from the Committee of the Whole, November 10th, and regular council, November 10th.
Move the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? And no one's opposed to that. And first up is a delegation from the Comox Valley Farmers Market. Come on up, Twyla.
All
You have
right.
to get pretty close to that so
Can everyone hear
so
me?
the hundreds of people watching online can
Okay,
hear you.
I want to make
Yes.
sure that everyone can hear.
Yeah. Okay, you have a presentation.
I'll just get
Awesome.
started while we're doing
Okay.
that. So good evening. It's great to be back here in front of Mayor, Council, and staff to give an update on their Cumberland Market. For those who don't know, my name is Twyla, and I'm the General Manager for the Comox Valley Farmers Market. And today I'm here to give an update on the activities since we last spoke, which was the beginning of this year. So before we get started, I'm just going to do a quick overview of the market as a whole, as a Farmers Market Association. We are a nonprofit organization that is rooted in agriculture, and our mandate is to promote and support the economic health of the local farm and food community and to educate the public on agricultural issues. All the products that are sold at our markets are made, baked, grown, raised, and wild harvested in the Comox Valley and Strathcona regional districts, with approximately 90% of the vendors within a 20-kilometer radius of our exhibition grounds, which means when we talk about food miles, which is the distance food is transported from the time of its making until the time it reaches the customer, is 20 kilometers, which is amazing. And here in Cumberland, we have approximately 4%. If you include Royston, is about 8% of our vendors are from Cumberland and Royston. So that's awesome. We are a food-only, farmer-first farmers market. We've been operating for over 33 years, nearly 34. And although we love our artisans and we do support them in other ways, our market is a food-only, farmer-first market. Our membership is composed of about 55 to 60% farmers, and the remaining are bakers, processors, concession, herbalists, which are our soap and body care products, and our liquor vendors. Our markets. We currently have 3 markets, including our Saturday market, which operates year-round. We have our Sunday market here in Cumberland, and this year we also have our Wednesday market in the town of Comox. We also participate in the BC Association of Farmers Market Nutrition Coupon Program, and that provides $27 a week in coupons for young families, pregnant individuals, and seniors across BC to purchase fresh fruits, vegetables, meat, dairy, eggs, and nuts over a 16-week period. Our community partners are the Comox Valley Healthy Families, the Mikisew Métis Association, the Upper Island Women of Native Ancestry, and the Cumberland Community School Society. Although the Sunday market is done for the season, the coupon program continues until December 20th. And so once we have completed the program, we'll be able to have better numbers as far as the number of individuals and families that come from the village of Cumberland. So a little bit about our Cumberland market. It started in July of 2016, and it operates from 10 till 1, and it runs from June till October. In 2019, we won the BC Association of Farmers Markets Market of the Year for small market. In June of 2020, the market season started a little bit earlier by 2 weeks. In June of 2023, the season was extended again, running from the beginning of June to the end of September. In 2024, the season was again extended to the beginning of June until Thanksgiving long weekend. And this past year in 2024, we won the BC Association of Farmers Market Small Market Award again. So 2 times in the last few years. That's awesome. Over the last 9 years, we've extended the markets from 12 weeks to 20 weeks. And as I said before, we've got approximately 8% of our membership comes from the village, village of Cumberland, Royston area. So this is a shot from this year. I'm going to do a little bit of a highlight from our 2025 season. We had several different community tables. We had food fest. We had live music throughout. We had live music, and this year through the Cumberland Community Grant, we were also able to expand our kids' activity table. So these are just some of the examples of some of the things that happened this year. I just wanted to expand a little bit on the kids' activity table. So there will be a final report in your inbox shortly, but I just wanted to give a brief overview. So the program provided engaging activities to children each week at the farmers market. The total of 16 different activities included scavenger hunts, guessing games, rock painting, vegetable dye, flowers, vegetable stamps, is it local or not, building your own garden, matching games, matching the seeds to the crops, dirt babies, garden balls, and more. To do this, we needed a dedicated staff to create, find, gather, compile all the supplies that was needed to run these activities. Staff made every effort to reduce, reuse, recycle, and support local wherever we could. The scavenger hunts and other activities were placed in reusable sheet protectors on clipboards so that we can continue to use that particular item for future times. We had some matching games where we're able to use a dry erase board and reuse that particular board again. We had the limited number of paper copies of each activity so that we could reduce our paper. In 2026, we will be able to reuse and expand upon our activities or even reimagine them so that we'll be able to continue to have kids' activities at the market. And here's just a brief breakdown of some of the expenses, which will also be detailed in the report. And as expected, the bulk would be just for staff to try and create all this stuff. So let's take a deep dive into our 2025 numbers. So although we are the Comox Valley Farmers Market, we did prioritize vendors, individuals, groups from the Village of Cumberland whenever possible. So we had 20 market days this year from June 1st to October 12th. And again, we ran from 12 to 1. We had 28 different vendors attending throughout the season, 5 vendors from the Royston and Cumberland area. On average, we had 10 vendors per market, and most was 13, and the fewest being 8. We had live music throughout the season, and although the musicians are from various parts of the Comox Valley, we did have 3 musicians from Cumberland. We had 9 different community tables, which included Lush Valley Food Action Society, the First Cumberland Scouts, AVI Crisis Response, welcoming neighborhood welcome, building connections through neighborhood families, Elder College, and Experience Comox Valley, as well as the Child Development Center, the CV Food Bank, and the Cumberland Cycling Without Age. There are a variety of products all the way from arugula to zucchini and everything in between. And as I already mentioned, we had 16 out of our 20 weeks with a kids activity that focused on food literacy, tasting, planting, gardening, and scavenger hunts. We had over 500 customers per market day on average. The highest daily timed count was 867, and that was on the Foggy Mountain Fall Fair. The highest number of shoppers at any one time in a 20-minute period, which is the time that we count customers, we do that every hour, was 119. The quietest period was 25 shoppers in a 20-minute period, and the average number of shoppers was about 55 at any one time. So in general, the customer count numbers were pretty similar to 2023, 2024 as well. So let's take a look at our gross sales. So in 2025, the gross sales, which are the direct sales from vendors to customers, fell from $156,000 in 2024 to just over $91,000 this year. I'll touch base about this in a moment, so bear with me. Our market mix for the market as a whole, we tried to aim for 50 to 60% farmers, and the Cumberland market was pretty close to that. Our rest of our numbers are pretty close as what our market does on average. It varies market to market, but as a whole, it fell within that market mix range. So let's take a look at the economic impact. As you recall, in 2023, the BC Association of Farmers Markets conducted a province-wide study of over 70 markets of all types and sizes to measure the economic and community benefits the farmers market had on BC neighborhoods, cities, towns, and the agriculture sector. For the market here in Cumberland, the number was $600,600, and that was the combined economic and community benefit. So though we're not able to complete a full economic survey similar to what was conducted in 2023, we're able to use our gross sales data that we collect weekly from our vendors to get an estimate of the minimum economic impact the 2025 market had on the village of Cumberland. An approximate total of $91,000 in gross sales was recorded by vendors using the same multiplier as they did in 2023, which is 1.5. We're able to measure the revenues and account for the ripple effect to calculate the economic impact, and we get $137,000. It is important to note that this estimate does not take into account seasonal variability and other factors used in the 2023 assessment, and it does not include the spillover effect of individuals shopping or attending other events or businesses in the area before or after their trip to the market. We estimate that if we were able to conduct a full economic assessment in 2025, the impact would be closer to $300,000. So you are probably wondering why the numbers are a little bit lower and why we've had a setback compared to previous years. So there are several reasons for this. The biggest and most impactful to this season was the diversity of our vendors, and as a result, the products. The decrease in vendor turnout started in 2024. The impact was not really felt at that time as we had a good selection of vendors and products. The gross sales in 2024 was only slightly higher than in 2023 and leveled off the trend that we've been seeing since 2027 of a yearly increase in gross sales. The decrease is a result of vendors choosing to attend other markets, specifically the Campbell River Farmers Market. And I say this not to be negative against the Campbell River Farmers Market. The more farmers markets, the better. We're all for that. This is simply looking at the reasons that the vendors gave for not attending the markets. Without going into too much detail, prior to 2024, the Campbell Rivers Farmers Market was a mixed artisan and farm food drink market that was run by the Campbell River BIA. This was in a location that had limited space and probably limited geographic reach for vendors. In 2022, the market moved to a different location and changed hands from the local BIA. And then in 2024, the Campbell River Farmers Market became an independent society. This transition meant that they were able to have a larger geographical reach for vendors, as well as more space in their larger location. The Campbell River Market has a significantly larger customer base than it does in Cumberland, on the scale of about 6 to 7 times more than it does here. Between the Campbell River Farmers Market having more space for vendors and allowing more vendors in to attend the market, as well as a larger customer base, some of our vendors started attending the Campbell River Farmers Market in 2024, and then more followed in 2025. To add to this, several key vendors for the Sunday market did not attend this year for a variety of reasons, including getting out of farming or staffing issues. Finally, over the last several years, there's been an increase in markets, both artisan and farmers markets, or a combination of both, in the Comox Valley, across Vancouver Island, and the Gulf Islands. These have either come back or expanded since COVID, or they are new to the scene. This means that there is a greater selection of markets, market days, times for vendors to choose. This means that vendors may not be able to attend the Sunday market, or they just don't have enough product to attend the Sunday market. All of this has meant that despite having a good-looking vendor and product selection in the pre-market months, as well as doing vendor recruitment during the market season, the 2025 season took a big hit. So what does this mean? The Cumberland market is a great market with loads of potential, and one not successful year does not mean that we're going to stop the Sunday market. We still plan to do the Sunday market in 2026. It's just going to look a little bit different than it has in the past. We have surveyed the customers and vendors to get an idea what worked and what didn't work in 2025 so that we can make changes in 2026. We're still working on the final details, but here are some of our initial thoughts. We're going to continue with live music, community tables, and events such as Food Fest, as well as our kids' activity tables. In order to keep the market financially viable, we're also considering decreasing the number of market days from 20 back down to 10 or 12. This will save money due to the decrease in staff hours, the decrease in venue rentals, as well as the decrease in musician payouts. We would also like to increase our vendor and product diversity and looking for more vendors. We're starting on this right now and trying to recruit more vendors for that season. We're also looking for sponsorships for musicians. We're looking at the possibility to partner with local groups and events. And other considerations, including looking at potentially changing the day or the hours of the market. These are just some of the things we're considering. Once we have an idea of what will work and what won't, we'll come back to council early in the year and try or we'll present again and give you an idea of what the actual plan is. So our ask. We do have support from other municipalities with regards to the venues that we have in order to help offset the costs of our facilities, which in some cases can be significant. And we would like to explore a similar option with Cumberland in asking that we can go into some sort of partnership agreement or other in order to help with the facility costs associated with Village Square. We currently pay just over or nearly $1,200 for the square for the year. And we do understand that decreasing the number of markets will also decrease that, but this is what we are hoping to do. So before I conclude, I just want to say that we are very grateful to the Village of Cumberland, Mayor and Council and staff for the continued support of this market. Village Square is the perfect location for the market, and although we had a few bumps along the road, we appreciate that all the maintenance that goes on the space, including tree trimming, mowing, grass, pumping out, and cleaning and restocking the porta potty and access to the power and water. And we are looking forward to a great 2026, no matter what that will be. We're looking forward to that. Thanks.
Thanks, Twyla. So we can go to questions. Any questions, Council?
It's more of a comment.
Comments?
I can definitely. I think you're being a little hard on yourself. I've noticed this reminds me of the phenomenon when we had a great festival here, the Big Time Out, years ago, and suddenly all these festivals started popping up in other towns, and the festival attendance decreased. So
Yeah.
I think the same thing's happening in other farmers markets, and the success of local food movements really taken hold everywhere, which isn't a bad thing at all.
No, it's
So
good.
measuring it in terms of dollars is definitely, I don't think it's the way to go. It brings so much to this village, and I know so many people who just love going out as soon as that pops up, and it's such a treasured asset we have here. So thank you. I'm looking forward to whatever partnership we can do. It really makes the village life feel like a village. So thank
We
you.
truly like being here. Sundays is a great day, and we could see it starting from 2016 all the way to now, how the streets of Cumberland, between the time we open and the time we close, how active it is, and the number of people coming in and the events and all that kind of stuff. It's great.
Yeah, it really activated our Sundays. Jason, can you turn on the lights? Thank you. Anybody else have questions or comments?
Well, you said you might change the day, but Sunday's so great.
Yeah.
What kind of, do you have any ideas, or just you just sort of spitballing, or?
No, we don't know. I want to kind of have a meeting with a couple of people here in Cumberland. You know, I know Cumberland a little bit, but I'm not from here, and so I want to talk to people that are from here and know what happens here to kind of get a better idea. We've done some surveys with our customers and vendors. The customers would like it to stay on Sunday. I just need to be able to find enough vendors. Right now, there's a lot of competition for markets on Sundays, and there's just not enough vendors and vendor products to come to the Sunday market. And if we can't make it viable to be here on Sundays, then we need to find another option. Potentially maybe change the hours. Right now we go from 10 to 1, so maybe keeping it on Sundays, but maybe making it an evening market, so maybe 5 to 7 or something like that. So we're looking at some of those possibilities to try. The more changes we make, the harder it is going to be, because it's almost like we're starting back from square one. Not quite, but as soon as we make a major change like that, it takes a little while for customers to know what we're doing and where we're going. So we want to try not to make too much of a major change, but make enough of a change that we're still able to make the market run effectively.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a Sunday without the vibrancy of the market, for
I
sure.
know, yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I think part of, or what I noticed this year is the loss of two sort of key vendors, which was McDonald's Farm and Mary Jane. I can't think what her
Ridgewood Farm.
the meat Ridgewood. Thank you. So those are kind of key draws, and potentially next year they could be replaced by somebody else. So there's always that change in vendors at the broader farmers market membership.
Yep.
So for those of you who are not so familiar, the farmers that come to the Sunday market or the Wednesday market or the Saturday market all have to be members of the Comox Valley Farmers Market. So you don't get a membership to just come to Sunday. You get a membership to the market, and then you decide which markets you want to attend. And so that mix is constantly changing. But the drop was July, August. Right? That's when the lowest markets were. And is that when the Campbell River, did they only run those 2 months?
They run May through to the end of September.
Okay.
So when we started pre-season, we did have all these vendors. Yes, we want to come. A couple of things happened, and then some of them went to Campbell River, and some of them also had. The other part of it is that there were vendors that had a booth at Campbell River Farmers Market, but also our market. But when they lost staff, our market was the one that got cut first, because there is much more demand in Campbell River, and they're able to support another staff member at the Campbell River Farmers Market versus ours. So that was one of the other things that happened with another key vendor. Halfway through the season, they had a staff quit, and they weren't able to find someone else and train them. And of course, by the time it's over halfway through the season, we weren't able to find someone to replace them at that capacity.
Yeah.
I was able to find another vendor to fill in that spot, but they were a significantly smaller vendor, and so it just definitely changed things a little bit.
Yeah.
So staffing is also another factor
Yeah.
that a number of our vendors are dealing with, trying to find staff, reliable staff period, but then reliable staff and staff who are willing to work on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I did want to thank you for I did notice that the community table had good pickup this year. The Scouts were there. There were a bunch of different organizations there, which I think is a really great way for those nonprofits in the community to engage with the broader community on a Sunday. Any other questions or comments? Thank you for all you do, and thank you for continuing to bring the farmers market to the village. I think it's a key piece of our food security strategy, and hopefully someone out there is listening to the potential opportunity there is to start growing food and selling it at the Comox Valley Farmers Market on Sundays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your support, and I do look forward to 2026. We will be back here earlier in the year with our plan, just so that we can kind of get things going and let you know where we're at.
Awesome. Thanks
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Bob.
Do we have a? Yep. So let's receive that
I'll move
delegation.
the council receive the delegation from Comox Valley Farmers Market Association.
Second.
All in favor of that? And that's carried unanimously. Okay, next up is amendment to the Cumberland Community Schools Society Services Partnership Agreement. I said it in the reverse, and that's okay.
All right, good evening. Ryan's not available this evening, so I'll present his report. But yeah, he was the one that drafted it, and I was involved in a few of the discussions. Since the Cumberland Community Schools Society was given notice of not having access to a youth center space by SD 71 during construction, we've been working with them to try and figure out where the village might be able to help support. And on that front, I think there's a couple of good news items to report. One is they since have found some space within the school to continue to offer a reduced service level youth center, but that in addition to some programming in the gymnasium, they are still offering a few days a week. But what concurrent to those conversations, we were also looking at how we could bolster that. And what we've come up with is an opportunity to use one of our facilities for a monthly pop-up youth center. It would be like on Saturday evenings, Buchanan Hall. And so the idea would be this is temporary in nature. There are some impacts on village operations and the ability to rent that space and other community access to the facilities. But for the next couple of years, we thought it was a viable option to present to council if you're interested. And then, yeah, upon looking at that community service partnership agreement after 2027, we'd have a good idea of where they're at with a new facility, a new SD71 facility. So, yeah,
Awesome.
the amendment is simply to propose using the space likely downstairs.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
Is there anything long term that this is impacting as far as current scheduling, or is this?
Nothing is scheduled, and we would attempt to avoid any conflicts with anything existing that's already booked.
Yeah.
So there's some flexibility within this arrangement. It would have to be, each of the bookings would have to be arranged in advance and coordinated with our own programs and already committed to rentals.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I had.
Anybody else?
No, thank you for bringing this
This
forward.
is awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And
great stuff.
yeah, I dropped my daughter off at the youth center on the way here this evening. So yeah, no, this is as much as we can do to support this sort of thing is, I think, a very good thing.
Well, yeah. To that end, I'd recommend.
I just have a couple of things. So this, I understand, so the existing youth center, I can't remember what grade it goes to, but I think it's a younger demographic. So this is a pop-up for a slightly older crew as well, right? 13 to 17. And the idea is to do it on, I'm doing this mostly not because I haven't read the report, but because I want to speak to this so that the community can hear what we're doing, because people don't read the agenda necessarily. So this would be a drop-in center, like from 6 till 11 at the cultural center, which is sort of trying to catch those slightly older, maybe don't want to be at the school, maybe want to do something different youth. And that was a need or a request or an idea also that came out of the village hall that we held. And people were like, well, we don't have a youth center. And I'm like, yeah, we do. And we've been funding it for a long time through CCSS. So that partnership is one thing which I very much appreciate. They are actively supporting and specifically supporting vulnerable youth, but all youth are welcome there. And so this is like not just a gap filler, but also a bit of an expansion of that service, which I think the community will appreciate, that partnership, to give those older kids something slightly different that's off the school grounds. So I just appreciate the work that Ryan and whoever else was involved put into finding a solution that takes us a bit further into serving youth. And that's all I'll say. Now you can make the motion, Nick, if you want. Councillor?
Thank you. No, thanks for that. That's very well said and pointed out. So I will recommend that council approve a first amendment dated November 10, 2025 to the 2024 to 27 Community Services Partnership Agreement between the Village of Cumberland and the Cumberland Community School Society attached to this report, and that council authorise the Chief Administrative Officer and Mayor to execute the amendment.
Second.
All in favor, and that is carried unanimously. Thank you so much. Next up is number 2, dam project funding application update. And the first thing we want to know, Jason, is are they going to give us the money?
I don't know yet.
Can you tell us? No, you
I didn't
can't.
read that in the
Okay.
report.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not in the
I didn't
report.
add
That's
that
why I
in.
was like, do you know now?
Here's
No.
hoping, though.
Okay.
So yeah, on June 9th, council approved us moving forward with an application for funding through the Strategic Priorities Fund. Through conversation with them, after that application went through, they wanted an update to the resolution that we brought forward to specifically the words that we've placed in this report. Those are to ensure that we're comfortable with taking on the requirements of the funding, taking on the project as a whole, understanding that things can happen, Much like other fundings we've done in the past, this was just an item that maybe we missed, myself and ISL, as we were preparing this, so we wanted to bring this forward again to Mayor and Council for an updated resolution. But this has been sent through to the Strategic Priorities Fund. We've had some conversations back and forth, and now we're at the point where they're asking for this update, so hopefully that's good news.
Feels like a good sign that they're asking us questions about it. That hopefully is positive.
I always find any communications a positive thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You never really know. But
Exactly.
Here's open.
Exactly. Questions or comments, Council?
Nope, just
Okay.
hoping
Nope.
we're getting the
Okay.
funding.
I'll move the council indicates its support for proposed activities outlined in the application for funding of $2,700,000 from the Strategic Priorities Fund under the Canada Community Building Fund in British Columbia for number 2 dam replacement project. And that council indicate its willingness to provide overall grant management for the funding received through the Strategic Priorities Fund under the Canada Community Building Fund in British Columbia. And that council indicated support for any cost overruns associated with the number 2 dam replacement project beyond the amounts approved under the funding program.
Second.
All in favor? And none opposed. That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Fingers crossed. Next up is Municipal Finance Authority financing for 2025 vehicle purchase. Tractor for tractor.
So the purpose of this report is to seek council's approval for the short-term borrowing for the replacement of a mower with a small tractor and a mower attachment. Council approved this purchase for an amount of $80,000 in the 2025 financial plan to be funded through the MFA, Municipal Finance Authority Equipment Financing Program. The village funds the regular replacement of its vehicle fleet and equipment by borrowing through MFA, which requires a council resolution approving the borrowing for the purchase. The actual purchase took place earlier in the year following the competitive request for proposal that took place in March 2025. One thing to note is the available budget was not sufficient to include the purchase of the actual mower attachment, which will be purchased later with the proceeds from the sale of the old mower. Financial implication now. So the equipment financing fixed monthly interest rate is currently at 3.04% with a maximum term of 5 years, and the total estimated interest payable for the 5-year term would be just over $6,500 on a loan of $80,000. So tonight council may request more information or not proceed with any actions, or and staff recommends that council approve the short-term borrowing from MFA through the equipment financing program for an amount of $80,000 for the purchase of a tractor over a 5-year term that must be repaid in 5 years. Any question?
Thank you. Any questions?
All right. There's nothing. I'll move the council approve the short-term borrowing from the Municipal Finance Authority through the Equipment Financing Program for an amount of $80,000 for the purchase of a tractor for a 5-year term that must be repaid in 5 years.
Second.
All in favor? Well, that's carried unanimously as well. Thanks, Annie. Next up is Business License Bylaw 1239, 2025. Is someone presenting that, or are we just
I think we're
going
just
through?
passing it.
Yeah, it's final adoption, so we've looked at it a couple of times. If somebody wants to make the motion, unless anyone has questions.
I'll move the council adopt fees amendment bylaw number 1242, 2025.
1239.
Is that it?
No, I think it was
sorry, I skipped
1239.
one.
Yeah.
I'm on the next one. Sorry. The council adopt the business licensing and regulation bylaw number 1239, 2025.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Second.
All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. And now, fees
Aye.
amendment bylaw, which we've also seen.
Okay, I'll just do it.
Yep, you
Council
can just do
adopt
it,
the
I think.
fees amendment bylaw number 1242, 2025.
Second.
Second time.
And all in favor? And that is carried unanimously as well. And now, zoning bylaw 1238, 2025.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. So this This report recommends changes to proposed zoning bylaw 1238 based on public feedback. The zoning bylaw was given first and second reading on November 10th. Some changes to a proposed zoning bylaw can be made up until adoption, which is at some point in the future here of the bylaw. But, however, changes to use and density must be made before the public hearing. So that's why we're bringing forward these recommended changes now. Any other public input that we receive sort of around now and up to the public hearing that would warrant a change, we'd be recommending all of those at your next council meeting at the council meeting where you'll consider third reading and adoption of the bylaw. So just to clarify that. And also as a point of clarity, if you're hearing from anyone who's continuing to review the OCP and continues to have some input, which we have received, any input we've received since you gave first and second reading on the OCP, that's something that can be made, changes can be made at third reading. So that's our plan for anything that is still kind of rolling in. Those will come later. The reason this is coming to you now is because these are changes to use or density that need to be done before the public hearing.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
So just a little bit of a background. The zoning bylaw, the intent of the zoning bylaw for the industry zone lots in Cumberland Road was to keep the zoning the same. So that no current uses would be made non-conforming. We're aware of the OCP direction for this area, which kind of broadens the permitted uses, that allows more service commercial, or maybe some retail, grocery store services, fitness classes, or some things that would help that area transition from heavy industry to service commercial. That's a better way of saying it. So we're aware that that's the direction in the OCP, but the plan in the zoning bylaw was not to pre-zone for these uses. The OCP was to give the opportunity for these things to perhaps transition over time. Now in the zoning bylaw, we did adjust categories for the bylaw overall in the industry zone, and with some further public feedback and some further investigation, there's a couple of lots we didn't get right on Cumberland Road. So we're recommending changes to 4634 Cumberland Road, Sunny Mountain Enterprises, and 4624 Cumberland Road GFL to change the zoning in the new bylaw from Industry 1 to Industry 2, which is basically what they have now. On a closer analysis of their current uses, we realized that is more appropriate. And as a related change to allow the use of warehousing in the Industry 2 zone, it was kind of all related to this extra analysis that we did. Is that, okay, well, they also need to have that use because that's something they could be doing. And actually that does make sense for the entire zone to have that use. The recommendation, just the way this has to be done technically, is the first step is the recommendation is to rescind second reading, then make amendments, then give second reading. So the bylaw will then would have today's date as the date of second reading.
Okay. Got it? Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments, council?
No, I'd like to thank you for your work on this, because at least one of the owners of those properties was quite refreshed that we are doing this. So, anyone else mind?
Go for it.
I move the council rescind the second reading of zoning bylaw number 1238, 2025.
Second. I think we should do that first.
Sure. All in favor? That's carried unanimously.
I move the council amend zoning bylaw 1238, 2025 in part 12 industry zones, table 12.21, permitted uses by adding wholesale services as a secondary use to the I2 zone, by adding S to the I2 column for the wholesale services row, and that council amend zoning bylaw 1238, 2025 and Schedule A zoning map by changing the zoning of the following lots from Service Industry I1 to Industry I2. 4634 Cumberland Road, legally described as Lot 2, Section 25, Township 10, Comox, District Plan 35-738, and 4624 Cumberland Road, legally described as Lot 3, Section 25, Township 10, Comox, District Plan 35-738, and that council gives second reading to zoning bylaw 1238-2025 as amended by this motion, and the motions to amend the bylaw adopted on November 10th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Courtney. That's carried unanimously. Next up is 2026 to 2030 financial plan bylaw. They're all about the bylaws.
That time of year.
Yeah.
It's that time of year. It's fall.
So the purpose of this report is to present council with the 2026-2030 financial plan bylaw for consideration of first reading, and the frontage tax amendment bylaw and water rates, sewer, sanitary sewer rates, and solid waste collection fees amendment bylaws for consideration of first, second, and third reading. The 2026 and 2030 financial plan bylaw includes all council-approved expenditures, transfers, and revenues required to maintain current service levels and meet strategic priority goals. A financial plan village hall and open house was held on November 17th to present the proposed budget to the public, and a light item has been included to the agenda package to report on public participation. So a few members of the public were in attendance and a few more joined online. Only one question has been asked about the future, about any future investment for the Perseverance Creek, and Mayor response highlighted ongoing design work for dam number 2 and healthy partnerships with the Cumberland Forest Society and Mosaic. And now the proposed financial plan bylaw includes a proposed tax increase of 3.94% for 2026 and an overall increase of 4.9% for utility charges and frontage tax. The water rate amendment bylaw includes an increase from 87 cents to 91 cents for per cubic meter of water for residential consumption, and an increase of $1.90 to 67 and 10 cents to the quarterly fixed rate for residential customers. An average increase of 3.05% is included for quarterly fixed rate for ICI customers, and the flat fees are increasing by an average of 2.54%. The sewer rate amendment bylaw proposes an increase of 4% to the residential customers, representing a quarterly fee of $123.75, and it includes an increase of 5.25% for ICI customers. The solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw proposes an increase of 2.7% for residential customers for a total of $68.40 per quarter, and an increase of just over $23 per quarter for ICI customers. The proposed combined increase for frontage tax is 3.57% for 2026. This includes frontage tax for the water, sewer, and stormwater, and a summary of those increases is available on page 195 of the agenda. The water parcel tax is expected to increase from $45 to just over $68 in 2026 due to the higher interest rate expected for when we refinance the debt. A separate bylaw amendment will be presented to council to adjust the water parcel tax when refinancing rates are known, and before obviously the tax are prepared, tax levy. And now the impact for the impact of the proposed increases, including municipal tax and taxes collected for other authorities, utility charges, frontage, and parcel tax is at $309, or just about $26 per month for an average single-family household. Taxes collected for other authorities are estimated to increase by 7%, and those estimations are also based on the 2025 revised roll, since the asset values are not available for 2026, and those will change once the asset values are known, as well as the other taxes, the increase for other taxes. The detail of those increases are available in attachment 10 10 of the report, and a minor correction was made to the attachment included on page 221 of the agenda to read total instead of total overall change from 2025, and that's at the bottom of the 3 tables. The updated attachment was provided as a late item and is available on the village website. So tonight, staff recommend that council give first reading to the financial plan bylaw and first, second, and third reading to the frontage tax amendment bylaws, the water rates, the sanitary sewer rates, and the solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw. And the financial plan bylaw would then come back for a second and third reading on December 8th and for adoption on January 12th. And the utility fee and charges and frontage tax amendment bylaws would then come back to council for adoption on December 8th. Any question?
Thank you. Any questions, council? Comments?
I was looking at the with reference to water rates. I noticed for ICI commercial customers, we've got a very large jump in the fixed rate and almost no change in the variable rate. So rationale for that approach?
Actually, maybe that's a question for Michelle, because she's the one that worked on those the rates.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a note here, just a sec. Yeah, so back in 2014, so the consultant gave us the variance, like how much percentage of the revenue should be variable, how much should be fixed. And so at that point, it was only 15% was the fixed, and that was because of that very large water customer, the laundry service. And so that was impacting it. And so then as you start to gather more and more, like that was actually impacting the variable and making it quite a high variable. And then as we started collecting more custom ICI customers, then in order to balance that out, then we've been playing with that ratio between. And so in 2026, I actually increased the fixed compared to the variable because of that. Because otherwise, it wouldn't have. There would have been an imbalance between the two.
So if I look at a small commercial business that uses a small amount of water, correct that they'll be seeing a $500 a year increase in their fixed charge, even if they're a...
Where are you seeing that?
Sorry, am I on the wrong... I'm seeing page 194 of the agenda, water rates. Am I reading this wrong?
194.
Oh, no, I am misreading this. Okay, so...
Because I did not expect it to be that much of an impact.
No,
Okay.
I am misreading this because it's not saying $60.40 goes to 540. It says that's the range of fixed rates being charged. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is me.
Okay.
That's my confusion.
So it really is only like a very small percentage impact to that fix, but it is more this time than it has been in the past, but just to balance it off.
Right. Okay, I see. And then and then there's only 1 cent per meter cubed increase for commercial customers.
That's
The
right.
actual use.
If that hadn't been balanced off for the extra customers, there would have been too big of a variable charge, and then that would have really impacted, like say your pubs and your cafes. Like that's what I was worried about, was that part.
Right. Thank you. No, clarified my misunderstanding.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tricky to have that one huge user in the same collection category as much different users that are
That's right.
sort
It
of
was
seen as the
very
same
tricky.
type of use. Yeah.
I totally remember that being our consultant's biggest problem,
Yeah.
actually, with that. And so we had to fix it that way, and then he did explain that as they come in, you'll all have to look at that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So if there's no other questions, there's a recommendation there.
Yep. I'll move that council give first reading of the 2026-2030 financial plan bylaw number 1243, 2025. And that council give first, second, and third reading of the water service frontage tax amendment bylaw number 1245, 2025. And sewer service frontage tax amendment bylaw number 1246, 2025. Stormwater service frontage tax amendment bylaw number 1247, 2025. Solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw number 1248, 2025. Water rates amendment bylaw number 1249, 2025. And sanitary sewer rates amendment bylaw number 1250, 2025.
I'll second.
All in favor? No one's opposed. That's carried unanimously. Thank you so much, Annie. No new business, so notices, motions, and announcements. Please do check the website just in case this changes before you come down. The Heritage Committee is scheduled for December 4th at 4 p.m. at the Masonic Hall. Not here, at the Masonic Hall.
Come on
Questions? There's no one here in our vast audience. Is there anyone online? There is, yay.
There is. This is connected to the number 2 dam report. If requesting the financing for number 2 dam, is there a reason why the dam and the lakes are not listed as the Cumberland water supply area on the proposed OCP? Oh. Should I read that again?
Yeah.
If requesting the financing for number 2 dam, is there a reason why the dam and the lakes are not listed as the Cumberland water supply area on the proposed OCP?
What an excellent way to frame a question to hit this agenda. Thank you for that. Courtney, would you like to? Yeah.
I guess what I can say is we've had a public submission similar to this, probably from the same person asking the question. So related to the OCP, do there need to be any changes to the OCP mapping? And we're looking into that. And that is a change that can be made at third reading if a change is needed.
Okay.
So we'll report back to you on it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Any more? No. Okay, then we can move to, do we have a closed? We have a closed, don't we? So move to closed.
That was the late item.
Oh, that's right.
Someone have it in front of them?
Do you want me to read it?
I don't.
Or here?
I'll recommend that council close the meeting to the public under section 90, brackets 1 of the Community Charter to consider labour relations or other employee relations.
Second.
All in favor? No problem. And that's carried unanimously.